The lights on Research Station Harmony flickered for the third time in an hour. Commander Cephalon gripped the edge of his control console and watched the main display with growing fear. Red warning symbols covered every screen, showing damage. Reports from all sections of the station. "Shield strength down to 30%, called out his tactical officer. The young Althari's voice shook with worry. The Vextari are preparing for another attack wave. Cephalon looked through the station's main viewing window at the enemy force surrounding them. Hundreds of dark bioships floated in space like angry insects. Each one was as long as a city block and covered in thick armor that looked like blackwool but moved like living skin. The Vextari had been attacking for 3 days without stopping. "How many ships do they have now?" he asked. "Sensors show 412 vessels, Commander. More are arriving every hour." The commander felt his heart sink. When the Vextari first appeared, there had been only 50 ships. The Coalition had told everyone that these insect-like aliens were not very dangerous. They were wrong. The Vextari learned from every battle and adapted their tactics. They were like a plague that spread across space, growing stronger with each victory. Research Station Harmony had been a peaceful place just 1 week ago. The station floated in orbit around Kepler 442b, a beautiful blue and green planet. Scientists from 12 different species worked together here, studying the planet's unique plant life. They had discovered medicines that could cure diseases that had killed millions across the galaxy. The work was important, but the station only had basic defenses. No one expected a war to come here. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the lead Vextari vessel," said Communications Officer Thielen. "Put it through." The main screen changed to show a Vextari commander. The alien looked like a giant praying mantis covered in black armor. Its 4 arms moved constantly, and its large compound eyes reflected the light like mirrors. When it spoke, its voice sounded like grinding metal. "Coalition Station," the creature said in broken Coalition standard. "You will surrender now. Your research data belongs to the swarm. Give us your information and we will kill you quickly." Cephalon straightened his shoulders. "This is Commander Cephalon of Research Station Harmony. We are a peaceful research facility. We have no weapons of war here. Under Coalition law, attacking a research station is a war crime." The Vextari commander made a sound like angry buzzing. "Your laws mean nothing to the swarm. We take what we need. Your medicine research will help us grow stronger. You have 1 hour to decide, surrender or be destroyed." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in silence. Cephalon looked around at his crew. They were all good people who had signed up to explore space and help others. They were not soldiers. Most had never seen a real battle before this week. "Options?" he asked his senior staff. "We could evacuate the station," suggested Dr. Merhan, the chief science officer. "The escape pods might reach the planet before they catch us." "Negative," said the tactical officer. "Their ships are too fast. They would destroy the pods before we reach the atmosphere." "What about the research data?" asked Thielen. "Could we destroy it so they can't use it?" Cephalon thought about this. The medical research they had done here could save billions of lives across the galaxy. If they destroyed it, those people would die from diseases that could have been cured. But if the Vextari got the data, they might use it to make themselves stronger and kill even more people. "We need help," he said finally. "Send out a distress? Call on all emergency frequencies? Request immediate military support from any Coalition fleet in range." Thielen's fingers moved quickly across his control panel. "Distress signal sent, Commander. Broadcasting on all channels." "How long until Coalition forces can reach us?" "The nearest Coalition fleet is in the Vega system. At maximum speed, they could be here in 18 days. 18 days. The station's shields would not last 18 hours against the next attack." Cephalon closed his eyes and tried to think of another solution. There had to be something they could do. "Sir," said Thielen, "I'm getting responses to our distress call." "From who?" "3 merchant vessels say they cannot help. They don't have weapons. 1 passenger liner is changing course to avoid the system. and ... Dylan paused, looking confused. There's one more response. It's from a species I don't recognize. What? Do they say, the message is short? Received your distress call. Coming to help. Earth Defense Force vessel New Horizon, Captain Morrison commanding. Dr. Merhan looked up from her console. Earth? I've never heard of that planet. What species lives there? Unknown, Doctor. The database has no record of them. Cephalon felt a moment of hope, then reality set in. One unknown ship against 400 Vextari vessels. They're going to die trying to help us. Should I tell them to stay away? Asked Thielen. The commander thought about it. Any help was better than no help, even if it came from strangers. No, if they want to help, we won't stop them. Send them our tactical data so they know what they're flying into. Message sent, sir. Outside the viewing window, the Vextari ships began to move into attack formation. Their bioships pulsed with internal light, like the heartbeat of some giant creature. The aliens had been patient for 3 days, wearing down the station's defenses bit by bit. Now they were ready to finish the job. All hands, prepare for battle, Cephalon announced over the station's communication system. This is not a drill. Move all non-essential personnel to the center of the station. Seal all bulkheads. Engineering teams, give me everything you can. For the shields, the crew moved quickly to their positions. These were scientists and researchers, not soldiers, but they had trained for emergency situations. They knew their jobs, and they did them well, even though they were scared. Shield. Generators at maximum power, reported the engineering chief. But sir, we're running out of energy crystals. At this rate, we'll have power for maybe 6 more hours. 6 hours. The unknown ship from Earth could never reach them in time. The coalition fleet was still weeks away. Research Station Harmony was alone against an enemy that had already destroyed dozens of other stations and colonies. Vextari ships are moving, called out the tactical officer. They're forming into attack groups. Estimate contact in 20 minutes. Cephalon nodded. 20 minutes to live. He thought about his family back on Alpha Prime. His wife and children would never know what happened to him. They would wait for letters that would never come. Commander, said Thielen, I'm picking up a new contact on long-range sensors. Single ship, approaching fast. The Earth vessel? It has to be. But sir, it's still 3 hours away. They won't make it in time. Then we hold the line as long as we can, Cephalon said. Maybe we can buy them enough time to escape when they see the situation. The Vextari attack began with a swarm of smaller bioships racing toward the station. They moved like a school of fish, turning and diving together in perfect formation. The station's defensive weapons fired back, but there were too many targets. For every enemy ship they destroyed, 2 more took its place. Research Station Harmony shook as the first enemy weapons hit the shields. The lights flickered again and alarm bells rang throughout the station. The battle for survival had begun. The shields around Research Station Harmony flickered and sparked as another wave of Vextari weapons hit them. Commander Cephalon watched the shield strength drop to 15% and knew they had minutes left to live. The insect-like aliens had been pounding the station for over an hour, and their attacks were getting stronger. Sir, the unknown vessel is still 2 hours away, reported Communications Officer Thielen. His voice was calm, but his hands shook as he worked at his console. They're too late, said the tactical officer. The shields won't hold that long. Cephalon was about to respond when something strange happened. The Vextari ship suddenly stopped firing. All 400 enemy vessels hung in space like they were waiting for something. The commander had seen this before. It meant the aliens were about to make their final attack. All Vextari ships are powering up their main weapons, reported the tactical officer. They're going to hit us with everything they have. Emergency power to shields, ordered Cephalon. All hands brace for impact. The station's crew grabbed onto whatever they could find. In the research labs, scientists held their breath and waited for the end. In the engineering section, workers kept trying to fix damaged systems even though they knew it was hopeless, but the killing blow never came. Sir, said Thielen, staring at his sensors in confusion. Something's wrong. The Vextari ships are turning away from us. What? They're forming a defensive line. It's like they're protecting themselves from something. Cephalon looked at the main display. The enemy ships were indeed moving, but not toward the station. They were spreading out in a wide circle, their weapons pointed outward into empty space. What are they defending against? He asked. I don't know, sir. There's nothing on our sensors except ... Thielen paused and adjusted his controls. Wait, there's something small coming toward us. Very small and very fast. The Earth ship? It has to be. But sir, it's still 90 minutes away according to my calculations. Dr. Merhan looked up from her science station. Commander, I'm reading some very strange energy signatures from that approaching vessel. Their propulsion system is unlike anything in our database. The Vextari commander's face appeared on the main screen again. The giant insect looked angry, its compound eyes flashing with reflected light. Unknown vessel, the alien said, you will turn away immediately. This matter does not concern you. Leave now or be destroyed. There was no response for several seconds. Then a new voice came over the communication system. It was speaking Coalition. Standard, but with an accent that none of the station crew had ever heard before. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth Defense Force vessel New Horizon. I'm looking at about 400 hostile ships threatening a research station. Looks like this matter concerns me just fine. The human voice was calm and confident. It reminded Cephalon of the way his grandfather used to talk when he was not worried about anything. You are one ship against 400, hissed the Vextari commander. Your species is unknown to us. You will be destroyed easily. Maybe, said the human captain, but I'm not turning around. That station asked for help, and that's what they're getting. The Vextari commander made that angry buzzing sound again. Then you will die with them. All ships, destroy the approaching vessel. 50 Vextari bioships broke away from the main force and headed toward the human ship. They moved in perfect formation like a flock of deadly birds. Each one was 3 times larger than the approaching Earth vessel. New Horizon, this is Commander Cephalon of Research Station Harmony. You need to withdraw immediately. You cannot fight that many ships alone. Appreciate the concern, Commander, came the human reply. But we didn't come all this way just to run away. Besides, my crew would never forgive me if I backed down from a fight. The human ship appeared on the station's main display as it came into visual range. It was smaller than most Coalition vessels, with a blocky, practical design. The hull was covered in strange markings and symbols that no one on the station could read. It looked like it had been built for work, not for war. That's their warship? Asked Dr. Merhan. It looks like a mining vessel. Because it is, said a new voice over the communication channel. This one belonged to a human female. Lieutenant Amy Parker, tactical officer. This ship was designed for asteroid mining. We just added a few modifications. The Vextari attack ships reached the human vessel first. They swarmed around it like insects around a light, firing their bioweapons from all directions. The small Earth ship should have been destroyed in seconds. Instead, something amazing happened. The human ship moved like nothing Cephalon had ever seen. It spun and rolled through space, dodging enemy fire with impossible precision. Its movements were not smooth like Coalition vessels. Instead, it jerked and twisted in ways that should have torn it apart. How are they surviving those forces? Asked the tactical officer. Look at their weapons, said Dr. Merhan. Those aren't military systems. They're using mining equipment. The human ship was firing what looked like explosive charges designed for breaking apart asteroids. But they were using them as weapons against the Vextari ships. When the charges hit the enemy bio-armor, they exploded in brilliant flashes of light. This is impossible, whispered Thielen. They're actually winning. 3 Vextari ships were already destroyed, their bio-hulls torn apart by the mining explosives. The remaining enemy vessels tried to surround the human ship, but it kept moving in unpredictable patterns. New Horizon, how are you managing those maneuvers? Asked Cephalon. Practice, came the reply from Captain Morrison. We've been mining asteroids and unstable fields for years. You learn to fly fast and turn hard, or you become part of the scenery. Another human voice joined the conversation. This one had a slight accent that sounded different from the others. Tony Rodriguez, chief engineer. We've got these bioships figured out. Their armor is tough, but it's designed to resist energy weapons. Our kinetic charges punch right through. The human ship suddenly changed tactics. Instead of dodging, it flew straight at the largest group of enemy vessels. The Vextari ships moved to intercept it, but the human vessel did something unexpected. It released a cloud of small objects into space. "What are those?" asked the tactical officer. "Proximity. Mines," said Lieutenant Parker over the channel. "We use them to clear debris fields. They're motion activated." The Vextari ships flew straight into the minefield. Explosions lit up space as the charges detonated against the enemy hulls. 5 more bioships were destroyed, and several others. "We're damaged, impossible," said the Vextari commander. "How can one primitive vessel defeat our warriors?" "We're not primitive," said Captain Morrison. "We're just creative. There's a difference." The human ship kept fighting, using tactics that made no sense according to coalition military doctrine. They used their mining equipment in ways it was never designed for. They flew their ship like it was a fighter instead of a freight hauler. Most importantly, they never gave up. "Sir," said Thielen, "the remaining Vextari ships are retreating. They're falling back to the main force. What's their status?" 12 destroyed, 8 damaged. The human ship appears to be undamaged. Cephalon could hardly believe what he was seeing. One small vessel had defeated 50 enemy ships without taking any serious damage. The humans had done something that the entire coalition fleet had never managed to do. They had made the Vextari afraid. "New Horizon, this is Research Station Harmony. That was incredible flying. How many crew do you have aboard?" 43 souls, replied Captain Morrison. "And we're just getting started. The real fun begins." Now, the human ship turned toward the main Vextari force. 350 enemy vessels waited in formation, their weapons charging for battle. Any sane species would have retreated. Any reasonable military force would have called for backup. The humans flew straight toward them. The human ship New Horizon flew straight toward the main Vextari battle line like it was heading to a friendly meeting instead of certain death. Commander Cephalon watched from Research Station Harmony and could not understand what he was seeing. No species in the galaxy was this brave or this crazy. "New Horizon, you are flying into a trap," he transmitted. "The Vextari have formed a killing field. Every weapon they have is pointed at you." "Copy that, Commander," came Captain Morrison's calm reply. "We see them." "Tony, how are those modifications coming along?" "Almost done, Captain," said the engineers. Voice, "Give me 2 more minutes and we'll have something special for these bugs." The Vextari commander appeared on the station's main screen again. The giant insect looked pleased with itself like a predator that had cornered its prey. "Human vessel," the alien said, "you have fought well, but now you face the full power of the swarm. Surrender, and we will make your death quick." "Thanks for the offer," said Captain Morrison, "but we'll pass. We didn't come all this way to give up now." The human ship was still flying toward the enemy formation. It should have been destroyed already, but the Vextari were waiting. They wanted to crush the humans with one overwhelming attack that would break their spirit. "Amy, what's our tactical situation?" asked the human captain. 350 hostiles in a defensive wall formation, replied Lieutenant Parker. "They're trying to force us into a frontal assault where they can use all their weapons at once?" "Classic mistake," said a new human voice. This one sounded older and more experienced. "They're thinking like soldiers instead of hunters." "This is Chief Petty Officer Kate Wilson, by the way, former Navy." Dr. Merhan looked up from her science station. "Commander, I'm reading massive energy buildups from the Vextari ships. They're preparing to fire everything they have." "New Horizon, you need to change course immediately," urged Cephalon. "They're about to unleash a concentrated barrage." "We see it," said Captain Morrison. "Don't worry, we have a plan." The human ship suddenly changed direction, but not the way anyone expected. Instead of turning away from the enemy, it dove down below the plane of battle. The Vextari ships adjusted their aim to follow it, but they were too slow. "Now, Tony," ordered the captain. The human ship's cargo bay doors opened and dozens of objects flew out into space. They looked like the mining charges the humans had used before, but these were different. They moved under their own power, spreading out in all directions. "What are those?" asked the tactical officer. "Improvised guided missiles," said Tony Rodriguez over the communication channel. "We took apart some of our mining drones and stuffed them with explosives. They're programmed to seek out the biggest heat signatures." The Vextari opened fire with everything they had. Hundreds of bioweapons lit up space with deadly energy. But the human ship was no longer where they expected it to be. It had used the confusion of launching its makeshift missiles to slip around the edge of the enemy formation. "Impossible," hissed the Vextari commander. "How can you control so many weapons at once?" "We don't," said Lieutenant Parker. "We just, point them in the right direction and let them find their own targets. It's called fire and forget technology." The improvised missiles reached the Vextari ships and began exploding. Each one was small, but there were so many of them that the enemy formation began to break apart. The bioships had to turn their weapons away from the human vessel to shoot down the incoming projectiles. "Their formation is collapsing," reported the tactical officer. "The humans have disrupted their coordination." "Lisa, how are you doing on that biological analysis?" asked Captain Morrison. "Almost finished," replied a new human voice. This one was female and sounded very calm despite the battle raging around them. "Dr. Lisa Chun, medical officer. I've been studying the Vextari ship fragments we collected. Their bioarmor has a weakness." "What kind of weakness?" "It's alive, which means it can get sick. I've found a way to disrupt their cellular structure using a modified medical scanner. Give me a clear shot at one of their ships and I can test." The human ship suddenly accelerated toward a group of damaged Vextari vessels. The enemy ships tried to intercept it, but the humans were flying in a pattern that seemed random but was actually carefully planned. "Medical scanner modified and ready," said Dr. Chun. "Targeting the largest bioship now." A beam of energy shot out from the human vessel and struck one of the Vextari ships. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the enemy ship's bioarmor began to change color. Black sections turned gray, then white, then started to fall apart. "The armor is dying," whispered Dr. Murhan. "She's killing their living hull." The Vextari ship tried to retreat, but its bioarmor was dissolving. Within minutes, the entire hull had crumbled away, leaving the ship helpless in space. "How did you do that?" asked the Vextari commander. His voice now sounded worried instead of confident. "Medical knowledge," said Dr. Chun. "Your bioarmor is basically a giant organism. I just introduced a virus that attacks its immune system. It's like giving it a very bad cold." "You turned your healing technology into a weapon," said Cephalon in amazement. "We turned everything into a weapon," said Chief Wilson. "That's what happens when you attack humans. We don't just fight back, we get creative." The human ship continued its attack, but now it was using completely different tactics. Instead of trying to destroy the Vextari ships with explosives, they were making them sick. The bioweapon Dr. Chun had created spread from ship to ship as the aliens tried to help their damaged vessels. "This is not possible," said the Vextari commander. "How can one species adapt so quickly?" "Practice," said Captain Morrison. "We've been fighting each other for thousands of years. You learn to think fast when your enemies keep changing their tactics." "Sam, plot us a course through their weakest section," ordered the captain. "Already done," replied Navigator Sam Wright. "But Captain, they're trying to surround us. We'll be trapped in a crossfire." "No, we won't." "Kate, remember that trick we used in the Asteroid Belt campaign? The one where we pretended to be dead? I love that one." The human ship suddenly stopped moving and went dark. All its engines shut down, and it began to drift like a piece of debris. The Vextari ships moved closer, thinking they had finally destroyed the dangerous vessel. "They're taking the bait," whispered Lieutenant Parker. "Enemy ships closing too. Within 50 meters. "Wait for it," said Captain Morrison quietly. The Vextari ships surrounded the apparently dead human vessel. They were preparing to board it when the New Horizons suddenly came back to life. All its weapons fired at once, and the cargo bay opened to release another wave of improvised missiles. The enemy ships were too close to dodge. 6 Vextari vessels were destroyed in seconds, and several others were badly damaged. The human ship burst out of the trap and continued its attack on the confused alien formation. "Brilliant," said Commander Cephalon. "They used the enemy's caution against them." "We call it playing possum," said Chief Wilson. "It's an old Earth survival trick. Sometimes the best defense is to make your enemies think you're already dead." The battle continued for another hour, but it was clear that the Vextari were losing. They had started with overwhelming numbers, but the humans had turned every advantage against them. The aliens' coordination was broken, their formations were scattered, and their bioships were dying from the virus Dr. Chun had created. "All Vextari ships, this is your commander," the alien leader finally transmitted. "Withdraw to safe distance. We will regroup and plan a new attack." "No," said Captain Morrison firmly. "You came here to attack innocent people. Now you're going to leave and never come back. You cannot make us retreat. We are the swarm." "We do not fear death." "Maybe not," said the human captain. "But you should fear us." The Vextari commander stared at the human ship through his compound eyes and felt something he had never experienced before. Fear. In all his years of conquest, no enemy had ever fought like these strange beings from a planet called Earth. They did not follow any known rules of warfare. They turned everything into a weapon. Most disturbing of all, they seemed to enjoy the fight. "Human vessel," the alien commander said, "you have proven yourselves worthy opponents. We offer you a place in our swarm. Join us, and we will spare your lives." "Thanks, but no thanks," replied Captain Morrison. "We already have jobs. Besides, we don't work well with others who try to kill innocent people." The Vextari commander made his angry buzzing sound. "Then you will die with them. All remaining ships converge on the human vessel. Destroy it at any cost." 230 Vextari bioships began moving toward the New Horizon. Many of them were damaged from the earlier fighting, but they still outnumbered the humans by more than 200 to 1. On Research Station Harmony, Commander Cephalon watched the enemy formation close in around the small Earth vessel. "New Horizon, you need to retreat," he transmitted. "You've done enough." No one could ask for more. "Actually, we're just getting to the fun part," said Captain Morrison. "Tony, how are those hull modifications coming along?" "All done, Captain," replied Engineer Rodriguez. "I've reinforced the forward sections with spare mining equipment. We're as ready as we're going to be." "Ready for what?" asked Lieutenant Parker. "Something really stupid," said the captain. "Sam, plot a direct course for the Vextari command ship. Maximum speed." "Sir, that's suicide," protested Navigator Wright. "They'll tear us apart before we get halfway there." "Maybe," said Morrison, "but maybe not. Kate, remember what we used to say back in the old days? When in doubt, ram something," replied Chief Wilson. "But Captain, this isn't a bar fight. That command ship is 10 times our size. Size doesn't matter if you hit the right spot." "Lisa, did your analysis find any weak points on their command vessel?" Dr. Chun's voice came over the internal communication system. "The central section where all their biosystems connect. It's heavily armored, but if we could get through it, we might be able to disrupt their entire ship." "That's what I wanted to hear." "Amy, prepare all remaining missiles for launch. We're going to need a clear path." The human ship suddenly accelerated toward the center of the Vextari formation. Every enemy weapon turned toward them, filling space with deadly energy beams. The New Horizons' shields flared and sparked as they absorbed the incoming fire. "Shields down to 60%, reported Lieutenant Parker. "We're taking heavy damage." Hull breaches on decks 2 and 4, added Tony Rodriguez. But the reinforcements are holding. The human ship kept flying straight toward the massive Vextari command vessel. It was like watching a small bird attack a giant snake. The enemy ship was so large that it filled the entire forward view screen. All missiles away, said Parker, creating a path through their defensive screen. The improvised weapons spread out in front of the human ship, exploding against the smaller Vextari vessels that tried to block their path. Several enemy ships were destroyed, but more moved to take their place. "We're not going to make it," said Sam Wright. "Too many ships in the way." "Yes, we are," said Captain Morrison grimly. "Because we're not stopping for anything." The New Horizons smashed through the Vextari defensive line like a battering ram. The human ship's reinforced hull crushed 2 smaller bioships and sent debris flying in all directions. The remaining enemy vessels tried to follow, but they were too slow. 30 seconds to impact," announced Wright. "All hands, brace for collision," ordered Morrison. "This is going to hurt." On Research Station Harmony, the crew watched in stunned silence as the small human ship flew straight at the enormous Vextari command vessel. The enemy ship tried to turn away, but it was too large and slow to avoid the collision. "They're really going to do it," whispered Dr. Merhan. "They're going to ram a ship 10 times their size." "Humans are insane," said the tactical officer, "but they're brave." The New Horizons struck the Vextari command ship exactly where Dr. Chun had predicted. The impact sent shockwaves through both vessels. The human ship's reinforced hull punched deep into the enemy's bioarmor, creating a massive breach in the alien vessel's side. "Impact successful," reported Tony Rodriguez, blood streaming from a cut on his forehead. "We're stuck inside their hull, but we're still alive." "Damage report," ordered Captain Morrison, pulling himself up from the debris that had fallen on his command chair. "Main engines are offline," said Wright. "Life support is functioning, but we've lost power to half the ship." "Weapons?" "Mining charges are still operational," replied Parker, "but we're out of missiles." "That's okay. We won't need them. Lisa, Kate, grab your gear. We're going visiting." "Sir?" asked Dr. Chun. "We're inside their command ship," explained Morrison. "Time to introduce ourselves properly." The human crew prepared for something that no species in the galaxy had ever attempted. They were going to board an enemy vessel in the middle of a battle. Most civilized races would have surrendered at this point. The humans started checking their equipment and planning their next move. "Tony, can you cut through their internal bulkheads?" asked the captain. "With the mining laser?" "Sure, give me 10 minutes and I'll have us a nice big hole." "Do it, Amy Kate, you're with me. We're going to find their command center and have a conversation with their leader." "What about the rest of us?" asked Dr. Chun. "Keep working on that virus. If we can spread it through their internal systems, we might be able to disable the whole ship." The human boarding party prepared to enter the Vextari command vessel. They were not trained soldiers. They were miners, engineers, and scientists who had been turned into warriors by necessity. But they moved with the confidence of people who had faced danger before and survived. "Hole completed," announced Rodriguez. "You've got a clear path to their main corridor." "Remember," said Morrison, as they prepared to enter the enemy ship, "these aliens think they're the most dangerous things in the galaxy. Let's show them what a real Deathworld produces." The humans disappeared into the Vextari vessel, leaving behind a trail of sparks and the sound of cutting tools. On the bridge of the New Horizon, the remaining crew continued their work. They were trapped inside an enemy ship, surrounded by hundreds of hostile aliens, with no way to call for help. They had never been happier. "Sir," said Sam Wright, "I'm reading massive system failures throughout the enemy vessel. Whatever the boarding party is doing, it's working. The virus is spreading too," added Dr. Chun. "Their biosystems are shutting down all over the ship." Outside, the remaining Vextari ships had stopped their attack. They were afraid to fire on their own command vessel with the humans inside it. For the first time in the battle, they were the ones who did not know what to do. "This is impossible," transmitted the Vextari sub-commander. How can such a small species cause so much damage? Because we're not small where it counts, came Captain Morrison's voice from inside the command ship. We're from a planet where everything tries to kill you. We learn to be tougher than our environment. The human captain's words echoed through space, carrying a message that would change the galaxy forever. Earth had announced its presence, and the universe would never be the same. Inside the Vextari command ship, Captain Morrison and his boarding party moved through corridors that looked like the inside of a giant insect. The walls were covered in black bio-armor that pulsed with a sickly green light. Strange fluids dripped from the ceiling, and the air smelled like rotting vegetation. "This place gives me the creeps," said Chief Wilson, holding her mining laser ready. "It's like being inside a giant bug." "That's because we are inside a giant bug," replied Lieutenant Parker. "Their whole ship is one big living organism." The humans had been walking for 10 minutes, following Dr. Chun's scanner readings toward the ship's control center. Behind them, they left a trail of disabled Vextari systems and confused alien crew members who had never seen anything like. "These strange invaders, contact ahead," whispered Morrison. "3 Vextari warriors blocking our path." The alien soldiers looked like the commander they had seen on the view screen, but smaller and more heavily armed. Their 4 arms each held a different weapon, and their compound eyes reflected the corridor's green light like mirrors. "Surrender, humans," clicked one of the aliens. "You are outnumbered and trapped." "We don't really do the surrendering thing," said Parker. She raised her modified mining tool and smiled. "But we're really good at the fighting thing." The battle was short and brutal. The Vextari had superior weapons and armor, but the humans fought with a ferocity that shocked the aliens. They used their mining equipment in ways it was never designed for, turning tools into weapons with deadly efficiency. "Path clear," announced Wilson after the last Vextari warrior fell. "These bugs are tough, but they don't know how to fight dirty." "Lucky for us," said Morrison. "Because fighting dirty is what we do best." They continued deeper into the ship, passing through chambers filled with strange biomechanical equipment. Dr. Chun took readings as they moved, her medical scanner detecting the virus she had created spreading through the ship's living systems. "The infection is working faster than I expected," she reported. "Their bio-armor is breaking down all over the ship." "But Captain, I'm reading something else." "This vessel has a self-destruct system." "Of course it does," sighed Parker. "Because our day wasn't exciting enough already." "How long do we have?" asked Morrison. "If they activate it now, maybe 20 minutes before the whole ship explodes. Then we better hurry." "How much farther to the command center?" 2 more levels down," said Chun, checking her scanner. "But the virus is spreading so fast that some sections are already collapsing." The humans picked up their pace, racing through corridors that were slowly dying around them. The bio-armor on the walls was turning gray and crumbling away, revealing the metal framework underneath. Emergency lights flickered as the ship's living systems failed one by one. They found the command center behind a massive door that looked like it had grown rather than been built. Captain Morrison placed his hand on the surface and felt it pulse. "Like a heartbeat. It's locked," said Wilson. "And it's too thick for our cutting tools." "Not a problem," said Chun. She pulled out her medical scanner and adjusted the settings. "Remember, this door is alive. I can make it very sick." The scanner beam hit the bio door, and within seconds it began to weaken and dissolve. The humans pushed through the opening and found themselves in a vast chamber filled with floating platforms and strange organic controls. At the center of the room stood the Vextari commander, surrounded by his bridge crew. The massive insect turned his compound eyes toward the humans and made that familiar angry buzzing sound. "Impossible," he hissed. "How did you penetrate our defenses?" "We knocked," said Morrison with a grin. "Now we need to talk." "There is nothing to discuss. My ship is dying because of your virus, but we will take you with us. The self-destruct has been activated." "Yeah, we figured that out," said Parker. "But here's the thing. We're not planning to die today." The Vextari commander gestured with all 4 arms. "You have no choice." In 15 minutes, this ship will explode with enough force to destroy your vessel and damage the research station. Not if we stop it, said Morrison. Lisa, can your scanner disable their self-destruct system? Probably, replied Chun. But I'd need to get close to their main biocomputer. And it's right behind the commander. Leave that to us, said Wilson. She and Parker raised their weapons and advanced on the alien bridge crew. What followed was the strangest battle any of them had ever seen. The humans fought their way across the command center using mining tools and medical equipment, against aliens with advanced military weapons. They should have been outmatched, but their unpredictable tactics and sheer determination gave them the advantage. Computer access achieved, announced Chun as she connected her scanner to the Vextari biocomputer, uploading a modified version of the virus. This should shut down their self-destruct and disable their weapon systems. You cannot stop the swarm, said the Vextari commander, even as his ship's systems failed around him. We are Legion. We are inevitable. Maybe, said Morrison, but you're not unstoppable, and that's what really matters. The biocomputer began to shut down as Chun's virus spread through its systems. Emergency lights went out one by one, and the constant humming of the ship's machinery slowly died away. Within minutes, the massive Vextari command vessel was completely dead in space. Self-destruct disabled, reported Chun. All weapon systems offline. This ship isn't going anywhere. Time to go, said Morrison. We've got a station to save. The humans made their way back to the New Horizon, leaving behind a crippled command ship and a very confused group of Vextari. As they reached their own vessel, Tony Rodriguez was already working on emergency repairs. Good timing, he said without looking up from his work. I've got the engines back online, but we need to leave soon. That virus is spreading to the other Vextari ships and they're starting to panic. What's the status of the enemy fleet? Asked Morrison as they returned to the bridge. Chaos, replied Sam Wright. Half their ships are infected with the biovirus and shutting down. The other half are trying to retreat, but they don't know where to go. On the main screen, they could see the Vextari fleet in complete disarray. Ships that had been perfectly coordinated just hours ago were now scattered across space, many of them drifting helplessly as their biosystems failed. This is Research Station Harmony calling New Horizon, came Commander Zephyllon's voice. Are you all right? We saw the enemy command ship go dark. We're fine, Commander, replied Morrison. Little banged up, but nothing we can't fix. What's the status of your station? All systems operational. Our shields are back to full strength. Captain Morrison, what you and your crew have done here today is beyond incredible. You've saved not just our station, but probably dozens of other worlds that the Vextari would have attacked. Just doing our job, said Morrison. Though I admit it's not usually this exciting. The remaining Vextari ships are requesting permission to withdraw, reported Zephyllon. They say they will never return to this system. Let them go, said Morrison, but make sure they understand. If they attack any coalition worlds again, they'll have to deal with Earth, and we don't like bullies. As the Vextari fleet limped away into deep space, Commander Zephyllon sent a priority message to Coalition High Command. It was a simple report that would change the course of galactic history. Contact established with new species called humans. From planet Earth, classification, Deathworld inhabitants. Military capability, extreme. Tactical assessment, recommend immediate diplomatic contact and alliance proposal. The age of human expansion into the galaxy had begun and the universe would never be the same.